I believe we can start now.
Hi everyone, welcome. We will start the session in about 1 minute, yeah, just for the rest to settle in. Okay, so good afternoon everyone. Really wonderful. So many of you are joining us today. I believe some of you here are familiar with the European residency options, and for others, this might be the first time you are hearing about this program. I would like to share with you that I personally find this program as one of the most attractive programs to access Europe. The webinar will explain to you how you can use the Portugal Golden Visa pathway as an entry point or gateway for you to live, work, or study in all 27 European countries that you prefer. This means you do not need to move or live in Portugal if you do not wish to, but basically fulfill a very minimal residency of 7 days per year only. This easy residence makes it very convenient, especially for many who need to remain in your home country, but still have the privilege of residency in Europe. What's even more attractive about this program is it allows you to invest into real estate. As some of you may know, we also Australian migration is also our core services. So many ask us, can I buy a property to qualify for a PR in Australia? The answer is no, not anymore in fact. However, with the Portugal Golden Visa, this is how exactly it can work for you, whereby you buy a property for yourself in Portugal, visit 7 days a year, and technically, after 5 years, you eventually get to access all the other 27 European countries. This visa also comes with a reasonable investment amount as low as 280,000 euro. So more details will be covered in this webinar. We will have a Q&A at the end of the session as well, and we welcome any questions that will help you make a decision. Before we start, I would like to just quickly run through our company and the speakers for today. So, Global Migration Solutions, we are a licensed migration advisory firm, and we are known to be a company that offers premier migration services. We've been around for 16 years with a reputable success rate of 99%. And we're happy to share with you that we have helped more than 12,000 families migrate. Our presence is across Asia Pacific with 5 offices which includes Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Vietnam, Australia, and Hong Kong. We have also received multiple awards from U Global, which is the immigration magazine. And this is actually one of the latest award that we have received, this is the Managing Director of Global Migration Solution, Desmond Ang. We have received the top 25 Agent Award, Top 25 Agent Award by U Global Magazine in 2020. These are the programs that we carry in global migration. For the longest time, we are the licensed provider of Australia and New Zealand migration. And we've now also provided Portugal, US, and Canada. Here's the lineup of the speakers for today. Again, Desmond Ang is the Managing Director and Founder of Global Migration Solutions. Desmond, are you there? Can you just say hi?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and pleasure to have all of you here.
Desmond is the licensed migration advisor for Australia and New Zealand, and he's got extensive experience in handling various migration programs in his 16 years of experience. We also have Antonio Vinal with us today. Antonio?
Hi, hello, Audrey. Good morning to everyone. Good afternoon to everyone.
Antonio is a Portugal immigration lawyer and senior partner of FCO Legal based in Lisbon. And Antonio has been wonderfully handling the Golden Visa cases for all our clients. He has 20 years of experience in legal work and migration advisory. He has great expertise with the Portugal immigration program, and it is very assuring to work with someone so well-versed like Antonio. We also have Jamie Gui with us today. Jamie?
Hi, good afternoon, Audrey, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for listening in today.
Welcome. Jamie is the Managing Director of Intergentium Asia. Jamie's area of support and expertise is to provide suitable real estate opportunities for investors to qualify for the Golden Visa program. We have been working very closely with Jamie and have always been impressed with the attractive investment solutions she's able to bring for our clients. So these are the three experts that will be speaking today. I'm very sure it's going to be a beneficial session. And okay, the agenda for today. I'm not able to go next. Okay, here's the agenda for today. We'll be starting off with about Portugal, but getting to know Portugal and the benefits, the main requirements of the visa itself, the process and the timeline, including finally we will run through the investment options. So without further ado, I would like to pass the screen to Antonio to take over.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Audrey. And thank you, Desmond. It's always a pleasure to be part of these presentations where I get to share a little bit about not my home country, which is actually Spain, but Portugal, the country where I've been living in the past 20 years and which I now call my home. Now, the first thing that comes to mind when discussing Portugal, I would say it's number one, just about the right size. Major cities like Lisbon and Porto, not too big, not too small, perfectly comfortable, and the kind of place that you would perfectly settle into. Portugal, as you can see on the map, is a country on the western side of Europe, about 10 million inhabitants, very long life expectancy. Portuguese is also one of the top 5 languages in the world. And we will get into the English proficiency later on. And as you can see right there, Portugal ranks top 7, meaning that being a very touristic country, one that receives visitors from all over the world, it will be very easy for anyone to communicate in English. And Portuguese are very proud of their high standards of English. So moving on, you can see also one of the features why Portugal is incredibly attractive, because it is in fact the 3rd most peaceful and safe country in the world. So after very remote destinations like Iceland and New Zealand, we have Portugal number 3. And even some of our Brazilian clients do commend Portugal for providing them a safe haven away from the difficulties and rather less safe environment of a country like Brazil. But here they feel at home and they are able to walk freely, even at a very late hour, without having to look over their shoulder. So this is, again, one of the main features that I consider for coming over to Portugal. Then we have, of course, the extraordinary growth in foreign investment that we have seen over the past 10 years or so. Now, of course, a lot of this is down to different industries. I would single out the IT industry, and we have very prominent companies that have decided to make Portugal their hubs, or in any case, one of their main offices in Europe. And this would account for companies such as Google, for instance, Amazon, and they are looking very high into Portugal. As you can see right here on the screen, Portugal is also home to such important multinationals such as IBM, Mercedes, Volkswagen, etc. And not forgetting the very important World Summit, Web Summit, which brings together millions and millions of people all over the world, virtually now, obviously, due to the current conditions. But it's also placed Portugal front and center in everyone's minds. And definitely, I would say that tech is taking over as one of the main industries in Portugal. Of course, an important feature when people decide to relocate to any country is, well, how good is its healthcare? So there are different rankings, of course, that vouch to the strength of Portuguese healthcare. They have an extensive network of hospitals throughout the country, public and private. And these are amongst the top facilities in Europe. And I think that the long life expectancy is also a testament to that good healthcare that they provide. Of course, after or very close to healthcare, we have education as one of the main concerns for, again, anyone that might be thinking moving into Portugal. Now, you would be happy to know that Portugal is considered, in fact, one of the top countries in Europe to study abroad. And we might be looking at, of course, its universities, very well known in certain areas like engineering, architecture. Lots of Pritzker prizes have come out of Portugal, law, medicine, and I would also highlight the several very well-ranked business schools that provide very comprehensive programs for postgraduate studies. So just also to give you an idea of how attractive Portugal has come, I think this slide is very self-explanatory. A magazine like Forbes has listed Portugal as one of the best places to obtain a residency and a second passport. And you will see throughout the presentation, as Desmond and Jamie will explain, and will definitely give you a taste or a flavor of why Forbes considers Portugal as one of the go-to places. Also, Portugal is considered one of the best countries to retire. And this is not only due to some of the features we've seen. Of course, healthcare is very important for senior citizens, but also it's a very affordable place to live. Certainly one of the most affordable in Western Europe, while also maintaining a very, very high standard of living. And I would also factor in the tax issue, as Portugal also has a very beneficial tax program, which allows pensioners to be taxed only at 10% of their pensions. And this is, again, one of the most attractive tax programs that might exist today throughout Europe. Is it the right time to invest in Portugal and Lisbon, as we will be looking at today at a residency through investment program, the key word being investment? Now, as you can see, very well-positioned companies such as Forbes, Knight Frank, Bloomberg, all of them attest to the excellent opportunities that Portugal offers to foreign investors. And as you can also see below on this same slide, the average property price we would be looking at per square meter is, in fact, amongst the lowest in Portugal, meaning that it also has a great potential for future growth. Which other factors might we consider? Well, there's the celebrity factor. A large number of celebrities have chosen Portugal. And apart from the reasons we've been looking at, of course, the healthcare, the education, high living standards, the climate, etc., I would also add that for many celebrities, Portugal is a perfect place because it's low key and it helps them preserve their anonymity, and they can blend in with the rest of the Portuguese population perfectly, while again, at the same time, preserving privacy. Currency is euro, so strong currency. And then we have, of course, breakdown of nationalities. By the nationalities they're investing. I mentioned earlier the case of Brazil. Of course, there's the language issue, which and the bond between both countries that helps, but also UK and France, and a lot of European expats do choose Portugal for a number of these reasons that we have been discussing already, and have decided to make Portugal their home. Again, very attractive for many different reasons, but also the Golden Visa program itself, which has already reaped over 5 billion euro in investment for Portugal since its inception. Certainly one of the most popular programs, and certainly one of the programs that is easier or easiest perhaps to comply with. How about Lisbon? How is living in Lisbon like? As I mentioned earlier, it's just perfect size. Not too big, not overwhelming, but not too small, meaning that you have all the conveniences of any European capital. You have very good infrastructures, a good airport that connects you to anywhere in the world. And Lisbon has been routinely showcased by PwC and its ranking as the best city in Europe to invest, meaning that it's not only, you will not only feel good because Lisbon is a feel-good city, but also it is a smart investment. A few other reasons why Lisbon. Again, the property market is very, very strong, and I would add very resilient in the wake of COVID-19. Demand is still strong, and therefore we are not looking at a downfall in the prices. Again, these some of these few headlines will give you that idea, or will convey that idea much better than my own words. How about the benefits? So we've been discussing the attractiveness of Portugal as a proposition, as a business proposition, but also its residency by investment program is a deciding factor for most people. And now we will take a look at why. Number one, it gives you residency status without any restrictions. Number two, freedom of movement within the Schengen area. You might stay up to 90 days every 180 days in any Schengen member country. You can study in schools or universities throughout Portugal. You can benefit from its healthcare system. You can apply and obtain citizenship once you have fulfilled 5 years as a temporary resident. And once you become a citizen, you can live, work, and study throughout Europe in any of its 27 countries, because at that point you will be an EU citizen. And this opens up a plethora of possibilities. So 27 countries at your disposal, and this means great opportunities for you, for your children. You might pursue endless careers anywhere in any of these countries, and therefore giving you the opportunity to make it your home if you wish to, move about if you wish to, or just come and go for as long or as little as you like. So all in all, again, a most attractive proposition for non-EU investors. And I believe that is all from me right now. I will pass on the baton to Desmond, and happy to take any questions at the end of the session. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Antonio. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon again. So next, I'm going to talk about what is this Portugal Golden Visa and how does it work for you and your family member. So first of all, this program was being introduced by the Portuguese government back in 2012. And mainly this program was designed for non-EU citizens to obtain a residency at the end of the 5 years. Now, what is the requirements? What are the criteria for these programs? The visa applicants, first of all, it has to be 18 years old and above and without a criminal records. And interestingly enough, these programs is very flexible in terms of the health requirements. So what I'm trying to highlight over here is if there's any programs or countries that doesn't accept you due to some health condition, and these programs generally open for you to apply it. And this is, as what mentioned by Antonio, this is an investment for residency programs. So there is a requirement for you to transfer a minimum amount for the investment purposes. And the amount of the money that you transfer has to be invested into one of the acceptable investment, which we'll be talking that later by Jamie, yeah? Now, after you have obtained the visa, all you need to fulfill is just to spend as little as 7 days per year, or effectively, you can do 14 days over periods of 2 years, yeah, for the first 5 years. And subsequently, you can choose to go for the PR, a permanent residence, or a citizenship. And your investment needs to be maintained over the periods of 5 years, the first 5 years. And you are allowed to move around your investment, meaning to say, if you do see there's a better opportunity, you could liquidate your current existing investment and move into another investment during that 5 years. Now, how does it work in terms of the process and the timeline? First of all, the very first steps that we are going through with you is to look through is to discuss with you to see if you meet the requirements and to do some necessary background checks. And then we will move on to collect your documents and then, arrange the power of attorney, giving us rights to arrange the bank accounts opening and the tax file opening for you. Now, having to get the tax file open and the bank accounts open for you, we can do it on your behalf without you being present in the country. And later on, once the bank account is opened, you could start transferring the funds over to your bank accounts in Portugal. And assuming that you're taking this 1 to 2 weeks to get a fund transfer over. And after moving the fund over, you could start going into, the investment. But of course, anything prior to that, we are running this simultaneously. We'll walk you through what are the options available for you, to decide on what is suitable for you to go for the visa. Now, once the fund is transferred and invested into the projects or into the respective assets or the property that you have chose, then we will carry on to handle all your conveyancing work, sales and purchase agreement, registration with the authority, and only then after that, we can file in your visa application. So as you can see, it is necessary for you to, before applying for the visa, it is necessary for you to decide on what you're going to invest, and you have to complete your investment in order to apply for this visa. And the processing takes 12 weeks to get the pre-approval. So after 3 months, you get this thing called pre-approval, and you have 6 months to make your first trips to Portugal. And during that 6 months times, you go, when you're in Portugal, we will make an arrangement for you to be at the immigrations, to attend some interview, and to get the biometrics done. Yeah, and the interview is so straightforward. In fact, it could complete just within the 5 minutes time, and basically is to verify, you know, your legal persons and your intentions of applying for this visa. And after you have completed these biometrics, and when you're back, then the golden visa card will be issued to you not long after that. So the card will be issued to you for the first 2 years. Then it's subjected to a renewable for another 2 years plus another 2 years. So that renewal process basically comes with the 3 conditions. First condition, your investment is being maintained, or if you have any, if you at all change your investment, it has to be reinvested into an approved investment products. And then you have to fulfill also the 14 days of visits to Portugal, as well as no criminal. Should you fulfill these 3 conditions, then your golden visa will be renewed for another 2 years. So you have to fulfill the same conditions. So you're given the 5th and the 6th years, another 2 more years. So at the end of the 5th year, then that is when you are going to decide if you are moving forwards with a PR or citizen. And so we spoke about the visits of 14 days every 2 years. And then we spoke about the options of getting a PR or citizenship after the 5 years. So this is a quick summary on how does it work. Yeah. So basically, once the golden visa is approved, with these 5 years, you and your family members has rights to live, work, and study in Portugal while accessing to the healthcare, the education benefits. Yeah. So in that 5 years times, you have to fulfill the 7 days. Again, you have to fulfill the 7 days of residency a year and maintain the investment. So later on, you could then, after the 5 years, you could choose to either start off with the permanent residence first and then move on into a citizenship later, or you could go straight away to become a citizen of Portugal. Yeah. Now, what is the difference between the permanent residence versus golden residence? As you can see, the visa being a permanent residence, you have an indefinite stay in Portugal. And to maintain the permanent residency, it is in fact one of the very flexible requirements that I've seen compared to many other programs around the world. All you need to do is not to be absent for more than 12, for not more than 2 years consecutively. Yeah. So in other words, that works out to be at least 1 day in every 2 years. You need to be present to maintain your PR residency. Yeah. While maintaining the PR, so you can liquidate your investments, and you still continue to have the rights to live, work, and study in Portugal, while you have the freedoms to travel within the Schengen area for up to 90 days over a period of 180 days, right? For those who choose to become a citizen, this is really the golden tickets for you and your family members, because that opens you up to live, work, and study while enjoying all the benefits just as a local citizens within that 27 countries. Let's look into what are the investment options. So first of all, the real estates. When these programs was being introduced, these programs, the governments would require you to invest 500,000 of the euro into any types of the real estates or any types of the property. And later on, the governments do also encourage the investor or the migrants to invest into all property which has not been renovated for more than 30 years. And this fund is used towards rehabilitation projects. Yeah. So you could choose to go for these 350,000 options. In fact, this is the most popular options among all. Yeah. So there is a further 20% discount if that property of, 30 years old is located in the low density area. So this belongs to the options of property for those who choose to invest. Beside the property, you could also choose to invest into venture capital funds, and that is 350,000. Or the third option, if you were to place a fixed deposit in the bank for 1 million over 5 years periods. Also, for those who is running the business or intended to run a business, you are required to create 10 jobs. So with this, that would allow you to apply for the golden visa. Yeah, just to highlight again, for those who may not decided to apply for as yet, you could choose to invest and decide to apply for the visa at any point of time when you're ready. Yeah, but of course that's subjected to, you know, the change of the rules and regulation if that property and under that category still comply with the GV purposes or not. But having said that, if you look at all these four options, I'm sure that, you know, you would agree with me that most of the migrants would consider property as the first choice. Yeah, with this, I'm going to pass all of you over to Jamie to walk you through in more detail on what are the options, you know, the hottest projects currently available at the moment. Jamie, over to you, please.
Thank you, Desmond. Thank you, Desmond. Good afternoon, everybody again. Thank you again for your time. I thought I'll just walk you through just some of the experiences and also the project that we most recently have and just launched. As you can see, actually, in my background, that's actually the River Tagus, and I took that photo when I was fulfilling actually my 7 days per year. So I'm actually a golden visa holder myself. I'm actually in my last renewal, and the journey actually has been excellent. And I think the properties that are being offered in Lisbon actually gives very good rental yield as well as capital appreciation, because there's only X number of properties that one can actually invest in the historical areas. And we normally work very closely with our clients to see basically and find and offer a solution for them. And we are actually very excited about this project called the Lisbon Square. Lisbon Square is actually perhaps the biggest mixed-use project in Lisbon that is located in such a prime location, as I mentioned, just by the River Tagus. We're extremely excited because all this while, I think most of the projects being located in the historical area tend to be only like 4 stories high, 5-story high. And in general, I think our biggest project will probably only be like 30 over units in the main historical area. So we are very excited because this particular project actually hosts about 86 units in a very interesting building actually. The building is actually an old historical fort battalion, and there will be 2 phases that will be in this particular project. And this particular, we're very excited because you're buying also a piece of history, and this particular fort will then be turned into this mixed-use project, which is actually very much talked about in Lisbon. The location of the project is actually in Alcantara. Alcantara is only 3 kilometers away actually from the main historical area. And at the same time, it is, as I mentioned, what's really beautiful is located just by the River Tagus. And as you can see, there's also by the Point de Louis, April 25th Bridge, which is actually one of the very important landmark bridges in Lisbon. So according to the JLL report, basically, this is actually located in the Alcantara in the riverside zone itself. And basically, this actually shows the most investable areas in Lisbon itself. And in general, from experience, we find that right now, the demand is actually for us to actually invest in areas like Alcantara, because the government has actually put in a lot of money in this area to actually gentrify the location as well. So but we also believe there will be a huge capital appreciation opportunity. The other thing that's also very interesting about the location is not only that it's close to the historical center, Prasa Komersil, it is also close to the business district, the financial district. It's also close to Berlin, where the famous egg tarts are. And just by walking distance, you will actually come to the riverside of the River Tagus, where you will see this beautiful Met Museum and also the beautiful April 25th bridge that I was mentioning to you about. I will play a video right now just to show you a little bit whereby the developer will bring us just some sightseeing around the location.
Thank you, Shafak. I'm Manuela Luz from Optiloncre, and I'm here with Christelle to show you what soon will become Lisbon Square. So first of all, I'm giving you a quick tour on the surroundings. I'm here in the very heart of Alcântara, and just right on my back, you can have a privilegious view on 25 de Abril Bridge. 25 de Abril Bridge is a landmark to Alcântara and to Lisbon as well. Just to that side, in a walking distance, we have El Xix Factory. That is a very trendy place in Lisbon. It's kind of a creative hub that attracts thousands of visitors per weekend, around 20,000. Of course, we are speaking on normal circumstances. I would say El Xix Factory has that kind of environment of a trendiest neighborhood, like Soho style, and it's definitely a place you should come and see it from yourself. Just to the other sides, in a walking distance as well, we will have the Docas and Marina of Lisbon. It's a place that has many fine restaurants and a boardwalk to enjoy. And now, the new corner of Alcântara, it's right here. So here we are in the new corner of Alcântara. Just on my back, you can see this enormous building. It's the newly opened CUF Hospital. CUF Hospital is by far the best private hospital in Portugal. Only in this building, we have around 41 specialties, and it attracts thousands of visitors per day, both locals and internationals. And just in front of the newly opened CUF and the new corner of Alcântara, we will have our Lisbon Square project. Look. So here we are in what will be the second phase of Lisbon Square. As you can see, these huge empty plots will become a mixed-use project. It will have commercials on the ground floor and it will have residential on the upper floors. It will be surrounded with a very nice garden and it will have a public parking here. So now you will come with me and we will join Christelle to show you the historical part and the first phase of Lisbon Square. Come with me, please.
Welcome to Prima Collection Lisbon Square. We are now in a very historical area of the city that goes back to the foundation of Alcântara in the 17th century. This site used to be part of the Bastion of Sacramento, which was built in the 1700s to defend Lisbon against potential Spanish invasion. After the fortifications were dismantled, the Alcântara shoreline became an industrial hub for quite some time, until very recently, we started to see more and more revitalization projects emerge in the area. Now, follow me and I'll bring you to the oldest building of this whole plot. So this building was built in the 1800s, we believe around 1807. So this entire plot has a total of 5 different building blocks, all very different from one another. For example, that row of building over here stands out with this very typical industrial architecture that goes back to the turn of the 20th century. Now, about the project. I am standing in the very middle of the future courtyard of Prima Collection. Doesn't it look beautiful even today? I mean, imagine how great it will look after construction is finished. All around, the ground floor units will even have their own private terrace so that people will be able to enjoy this great Lisbon weather. In a nutshell, Prima Collection Lisbon Square will have 86 service apartments. In addition, this mixed-use development will also have some retail, some offices, and even co-working spaces. But cherry on top is what I believe is standing right behind me. On top of this building, there will be a restaurant and bar with the greatest view overlooking the bridge and the Tagus River. And finally, To my left, you will have the main entrance of the complex with a direct connection to the other square. So there you have it, Prima Collection Lisbon Square.
And now, back to you, Shafak.
So a little bit more about Alcantara. So as they mentioned earlier, Manuela has mentioned that the Alcantara is actually up and coming district. Tons of money actually has gone in from the government to gentrify the entire area and make it now very commercial and very touristy. I don't know whether you have spotted the Malaccan restaurant in the LX factory. So the LX factory is an F&B concept area, which is only walking distance. So from the boulevard where the marina is, where all the restaurants were as well, just within minutes walk, actually, there's this LX factory whereby it's a whole area that the government has put in to grow local products. So all the local brands and local Portuguese food and F&B concepts. So that's where a lot of people actually hang out and have coffee and their favorite F&B. And surprisingly, I was there as well, and there was a Malaccan restaurant. So the other thing that's also very interesting and about the location is the fact that Alcantara itself, the main station, it's actually located within minutes walk. And within this station, actually, this line also takes you all the way to Cascais, which is a very famous area that that a lot of people also live in the west of Lisbon. And in addition to that as well, there is also a new train line that will be connecting Rato to Alcantara itself, the yellow line, which then makes it even more exciting in terms of connectivity. The other thing that's also very interesting about the project is surrounded by museums. There's actually a tram museum, there's the Museum of Oriental Museum, there's also a Lisbon Convention Center, there is the Architecture and Art Museum, the MET, and this is actually the private hospital that they were talking about earlier. So it's really surrounded by many, many landmarks. But I think the most beautiful feature, as you can see also, that's why I had it as my photo when I was there, is actually the River Tagus itself is the most, for me, it's actually perhaps the most beautiful highlight of Lisbon. The fact that you can jog all the way up to Belém and see dolphins along the way, and you see people sailing, and a lot of the rich people actually dock at this particular marina, makes the whole place extremely beautiful and inviting, whether it's an investment or for you to just retire. It's really a beautiful place to be. Last but not least, I also wanted to show you now the actual video of the project. Now, before I show the project, I also wanted to share with you and to also excite you. Now, this project actually, because it is an historical building, and I said you're buying a piece of history, and because it's under a rehabilitation project, it was a project that also we worked very closely with the developer to develop for it to fall under the 350,000 rehabilitation eligibility. Now, in general, most projects will always fall under the 500,000 euro. Any project or any property or land or car park or whatever you buy, you will need to buy up to 500,000 in order to apply for the golden visa. But for this particular project, because it's under rehabilitation, it has been structured accordingly that it will fall under the 350,000 eligibility. So the project is actually launched in 2 phases. The first phase itself will be the rehabilitation, whereby we will be having 86 service apartments that will be managed by Prima Collection, which is actually a high-end luxury service apartment management. All the units ranges from studios to 2 bedrooms, will come fully furnished and will also come with a rental guarantee of 3% over the next 3 years. After the duration of 3 years itself, basically you have the option to look at the proposal for available Airbnb. So that will be actually very easy and good for the investors in view of the next few years, that will be able to help you to have a stress-free investment in that sense. So Prima Collection is actually a luxury service apartment, which they actually have in various parts of Lisbon, which Option Crea, the developer, has done extremely well. It's actually booked up most of the time, and we're actually very excited that they will be placing and branding this particular project accordingly as well. Thank you. Over to you, Desmond.
Thanks, Jamie. So I guess that gives everyone some good idea about the Golden Visa. And I believe there are some questions, and let's go for the question and trying to address.
Sure. All right. So once again, thanks a lot, Jamie, Antonio, and Desmond. Indeed, it was a very, very useful presentation. So everyone, I believe you do know by now why is this program so attractive. We will now go on to the question session. Yeah, so feel free to keep the questions coming. I will go ahead with the ones that we already have for now. So one of the questions that we have is with respect to the option of creation of 10 jobs, is there any monetary investment required? Maybe Antonio, you can assist with this question.
Sure. Well, there is no monetary requirement per se. Obviously, you would at least need to pay the employees the minimum wage. Of course, depending on the industry, the collective bargaining agreements might have higher thresholds than simply minimum wage. So if you would like to think about it alongside, monetary terms, you would have to think, okay, I need to keep 10 jobs, 10 people employed during 5 years for X amount of money. So eventually that translates to some kind of monetary investment as well.
Right. Okay. Sure. Thank you. So there's another question. This is regarding to loan. Hang on, it's jumping. Sorry. Yeah. Can we get a bank loan for the property purchase in Lisbon? Jamie, can you assist with that, please?
Oh, most definitely. So as the Portuguese Golden Visa program requires actually that the threshold to be met, and it should be a fund that comes from out of Portugal into Portugal. So for that purpose, if let's say under this program of this for this project, let's say if you want to purchase, you would need the first 350,000 will definitely need to come from out of Portugal. So it can come from Malaysia or any of your other banks, basically. And if you would like to take, you can take the loan above the threshold in Portugal, but for the initial 350,000, it must be established that the funds must come from abroad. Now, there's also the question that asks whether the Malaysian banks recognize a loan actually. So the banks in Malaysia, unfortunately, don't recognize loans to Europe. But there will be some financing facilities that you can work with the non-Malaysian banks that can be something that can be arranged with your privileged banker.
Sure, thank you. Okay, the next question. under what condition will there be further discount of historical properties? Desmond, you want to take this?
Sure. Well, we are talking about, if you're talking about that 20% of the discount, which is the 280,000, and this goes to the project that is located in the low density area. So we basically are talking about any population that's less than 1,000 per kilometer square, yeah, per square kilometer. So this is the projects that would grant you another 20% of discount, which is 280,000. So if we are talking about, you know, the location and the distance from downtown city, so you're probably looking at the area which is around an hour to an hour and a half away from the downtown city.
Okay, so I hope that's fine. So we have another question. Is there option for the 280,000 property investment? I believe the Alcantara is under the minimum of 350 category. Jamie?
Yes, so we do have the option for the 280,000, and that's located actually in the interior area. So again, we have a whole portfolio of products that we could always sit in consultation with our clients separately. But yes, we do have the option because in the interior area, you do get a 20% discount from the 350,000 euros, and that's why it's 280,000 euros.
All right, thank you. Okay, the next question, perhaps Antonio, you can help out with this. There's someone asking, remember reading about capital investment of Euro 350K? Does this investment required to be done in some specific funds or bonds, or can be done in any private mutual funds? Does this capital appreciate?
Okay, well, yes, the investment option through fund investment, the threshold is 350,000 euro, but it has to be in specific venture capital funds. So it's not just any fund, it has to be capital risk, venture capital funds. And these funds have to invest the money in Portuguese companies. At least 60% of that money has to be invested in Portuguese companies. Now, there are different providers or different funds that offer this kind of product, tailor-made to investors that would like to apply for the golden visa. So this does exist. All of them will give out yields on an annual basis. These yields are net, meaning that there is no withholding tax for non-residents, which is good. And then in terms of appreciation, well, that depends on the conditions of each fund. If the fund will buy the fund units back at its nominal price, or if you will sell them to someone else, and then maybe, depending on market conditions, you can make a profit out of that. So that would have to be discussed on a case-by-case basis.
Sure. Thank you, Antonio. Desmond, this is for you. Do we need to be present in Portugal to begin or submit the application at all?
No, the answer is no. We are able to do it all on your behalf until the only trips that you need to be in Portugal is after the pre-approval is granted. So anything prior to that, throughout the whole submissions, it is unnecessary for you to be in Portugal. Thank you.
Thank you. Jamie, I think you would be able to answer this. What are the fee and charges of owning property in Portugal?
In general, when you own any property in Portugal, the fees normally will be the joint venturing body fees, which is if you do buy an apartment. However, under this particular service apartment, is actually the management fees are waived. And the income that you get is really net of the management fees. The only other fee then that you'll be subjected to will be the municipal assessment, or the like we said, local council assessment, which actually comes up to about a few €100 per year.
Sure, thank you. Okay, I find this as a very interesting and a very relevant question that perhaps Antonio will be able to answer this. How is the racial harmony is addressed in Portugal?
Yes. Well, I think it's important to bear in mind that, Portugal had an empire which spanned 4 continents. So America, Africa, Europe, and Asia. So it's a very open, very diverse culture, very welcoming. I would stress that the Portuguese prime minister was born in India, in Goa. Well, at the time it was Portuguese territory. So you do not get a feel of any racial tension. It is, in that sense, a very, very peaceful society, very welcoming society.
Nice. That's very, very good to know. Okay, thanks, Antonio. Desmond, maybe you can help with this. Can the application include the parent?
Sure. Yes, so this golden visa generally go for 3 generations, meaning parents, husband, wife, and the children. And we talk about the parents, in fact, that also includes the in-law. Yeah, but it does come with the specific requirements. First of all, their parents or in-law has to be dependent upon you, and you must show evidences that you're supporting them financially. And importantly, they must be at the age of 65 and above. Okay, so now what happens is should they not reaching the age of 65 years old at times of the application, and during their 5 years periods, if your parents or in-law has turned 65, you can always reunify them into this application and obtain a golden visa status, resident status for them. Yes, the answer is yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next question, it can be Antonio or Desmond. What about including a common partner?
Yes, that is also possible.
Okay, that's possible. Thank you. Desmond, again, I think this one will be for you. How long will be the whole process take from initiating the investment till the time we need to be physically travel to Portugal?
Well, I would say easily you would have, depending on how urgent or how fast you would like to be there. But of course, we are also looking at the borders policy at this point of time. But if you're talking about a normal duration, normal processing times, you do have from initiating the investment to the submission to the approval, you do have 3 to 4 months to get that pre-approval. And then from there, you have 6 months to decide when you wanted to go over. So I would say if the border is ready for you to go over, you can be there effectively as fast as 4 months time, to 10 months, within 4 to 10 months times.
Okay, thank you. The next question, perhaps for Antonio. With this golden visa, Portugal citizenship, do we enjoy the same privileges as the locals? And do we enjoy free medical and education in other EU countries?
Yes, so once you reach point of citizenship, you, of course, get the exact same treatment as anyone else in Portugal. And even as an EU citizen, of course, you would be treated and get the same rights, benefits as any other EU citizen anywhere in Europe. And even with the golden visa itself, so before citizenship in Portugal, you would also have access to public schooling and healthcare, etc. So as a resident, even as a resident, you also get benefits.
Right.
But citizenship, of course, opens up more possibilities throughout.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Antonio. Jamie, this will be for you. What are the options and criteria to let out a property?
For this particular property, the only option is to use the service provider, because this particular provider is under Prima Collection. It's actually a luxury service apartment, just like Escort, like we are buying into Escort residences. So it is already a fixed service provider. However, if you're talking about other properties, normally for the properties that are transacted through us, we will normally assist our clients either to get a long-term rental, or also to introduce a relevant Airbnb management company that will normally give a projection of the rental yields. And that's actually our promise to our clients in helping them to manage the properties which are transacted through us.
Thank you. Okay, we're running out of time, but I think we can just squeeze in another 2 more questions. Okay, one of it is, how is the political stability in Portugal? In Italy and Spain, it seems to be slightly unstable. Antonio, would you mind answering this?
Sure. Well, the government just got reelected, so they were in office for 4 years. Now they will be in office for another 4 years. And generally, yes, I would say that whatever a party gets to power, they get it usually about 2 terms. And then maybe, there will be a change, but transitions are always very peaceful and there's no drama or instability involved.
I hope that answers the question. And the final one, again, it's about racial harmony. I think it's important. How big is the Muslim community there, and are they open to practice? Antonio?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. So the Muslim community in Portugal, there were 2 waves of immigration, of big Muslim immigration. Number one, after the decolonization, so a lot of people coming in from Mozambique and Guinea-Bissau. And in the last 20 years, we've seen people coming from Pakistan, Bangladesh, many different Muslim majority countries. And there are several mosques also throughout Lisbon, open for practice, different associations. And there's even a school just in the city of Palmela on the other side of the Tagus River.
Right. Okay, sure. Okay, we still have more questions coming in. So for I don't think we have time to answer this live, but what we will do is we will be compiling all these questions. We will be getting back to everyone directly. Is that okay? Okay, we'll just do that, yeah? Okay, I can just take one more. This is for Jamie. I think this question is important. Jamie, the Alcantara property is still under construction. Will we still need to make full payment towards the property? Is that payment secured? What happens if for some reason construction does not get completed within the specified time frame or face any litigation? Jamie, we can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Would you like me to take over, perhaps?
Okay, Antonio, you're fine.
Sure. Okay, well, of course, in these projects, the investor will be part of 2 contracts. One is with the developer itself. And obviously in terms, there will be a staggered payment in terms of the property purchase itself. And then we will have an agreement with the contractor, because under this option, when there is refurbishment involved, there has to be a relationship as well, direct relationship between the investor and the contractor. Naturally, there will always be an umbrella or master contractor agreement between the developer and the contractor itself, but there will also be, as mentioned, a direct relationship. And naturally, there is a time frame, and there are remedies in place in the contract, which I would be, happy to discuss on a private session.
All right. Okay, great. So I guess we will wrap up the Q&A for today. For all the unanswered questions, we will revert to you. At the same time, for any one of you who would like to fix a private consultation with us, you can reach out to the number on the screen. You can WhatsApp, or you can even type it out in this chat box to say that you would like to fix a private consultation. And we will be getting in touch with every one of you to see when we'll be able to fix this. All right? So I guess that's it for today. I think we had a real wonderful set of questions that is very, very interesting. Thank you once again to all the speakers, Desmond, Antonio, and Jamie. And thank you everyone for making time on a Saturday for this session. All right. So we'll stay in touch and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Okay,
Bye.
bye everyone. Happy weekend.
And